Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nightly, your Monday through Friday source for everything Nintendo. My name is Michael Cottrell, your host, and today on the show, I just want to talk about a game called Shu. This is a recent Switch release that was previously on PS4 and PC, and now it's made its way to our hybrid console. So, Shu is a side-scrolling platformer game. It is a $10 game, and you can kind of see that in the production value. It's not really meant to be this huge, enormous experience, and I think that's totally okay. So the game starts and tells a story you probably won't care much about. There's a big purple cloud that's going to eat everybody, so you got to save the day as Shu. And so you start jumping around the platforms. The platforming is really easy. Every checkpoint gives you 5 lives to start back at that checkpoint, so not a very challenging game. But as the game progresses, you start to use your glide ability, and there's these little airstreams that you can kind of fly through, and then eventually you'll come across a buddy, and they can have a move like smashing through barriers, or they can have a double jump that they give you, or wall jumping. All these different things help Shu navigate the level with either puzzles that you have to solve, and I mean, I use the word puzzles lightly. They're not really puzzles, but more so barriers that you have to use certain characters to solve, and other things that can kind of augment your abilities to move through the level faster. There is an emphasis on collectibles, of course. There's these little butterfly things that you collect. They're the equivalent to your coins in Mario, except they have a completion percentage just like Rayman Legends, where if you collect enough in the level, you'll get a certain completion metric there. Or and there's also these little guys that are in eggs. They're not particularly well hidden, and finding them doesn't feel like much of a treat. It just you just kind of see them there and you grab them, but it's creating reasons to go back and replay the levels. There's also a time trial version of the level and a completion metric for getting through the level without getting hit. So this game is not very complicated. It doesn't have the production value that you might see in other games that are also on the Switch or coming to the Switch. I mean, you think Rayman Legends and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze are both going to be on the Switch soon, and they'll be... I know Rayman's being sold at a budget price. I think Donkey Kong's probably going to find its way to be $60 because Nintendo, but if you're looking for something cheap, something quick, because this game clocks in at about 2 hours to get through the first time, and then after that it's more so based on, how fast and good you are at platforming games. But I'd say the game really bored me at first, but where it started to win me over was when I picked up more of the buddies that tag along. So you'll start in a world and you'll go through a level alone as Shu. You get a kind of feel for the environments, what kind of obstacles you'll be facing. You might even see some things that you can't really interact with, and then you'll find a buddy, and that buddy will give you the power to say, like I mentioned before, there's one that lets you double jump, and then there's one that lets you use these pulleys to navigate the level. And so they'll start to weave these together, and all of a sudden you'll be jumping and using your double jump and in conjunction with Shu's glide to quickly make your way through the level to avoid obstacles. Then there's these sort of chase sequences that you have to run away from the purple cloud, so you've only got a certain amount of time to execute everything perfectly. And what the game does really well is establishing a flow to it. I really appreciate that, and honestly, I feel like that's what that's what all the best Sonic games have had, is not so much an emphasis on going fast, but an emphasis on just keeping things moving. And I really appreciate that. You'll get acclimated to the different abilities that you're picking up and start to become more proficient in them and kind of weave through the level in a easier fashion. And so it also just kind of creates this tiered structure where you'll start the level with Shu, get a feel for it, pick up your first buddy, do some challenges with that, pick up your second buddy, do some individual challenges with that guy, then move on to mixing the different abilities, and then it ends with a big chase sequence where you have to execute them all on a much shorter time frame. So it started to win me over the further I got into it. It's not going to go very far, though. I played it for about an hour, and I think I'm sitting at the last few levels. And I've missed a couple of things along the way, but I don't really find the collectible angle to be as compelling as it is in, say, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or Rayman Legends. They're not, like, hidden in interesting bonus rooms where you play a mini game. They don't seem to unlock additional levels, so there doesn't seem to be much of a point to playing them. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. For someone like me that is shorter on time, I think this is a nice title at a $10 price. Give me something that I can play for a few hours, come back to if I ever want a platforming fix. There's a lot of platforming competition on the Switch. With the titles that I mentioned, Donkey Kong, Rayman Legends, you've got Shovel Knight, and all of the different other indies that are either coming or on their way. We've got Owlboy dropping next month, and so there's a lot of steep competition for platformers and side-scrolling platformers on this console. But if you're looking for something quick, something cheap, I think it's not a bad game to check out. So I would love to know what you think of it. Let me know in the comments. Let's start a dialogue. I'm pretty positive on the game, honestly. I think the way that they really emphasize that flow of play is really nice. The graphics aren't great. They mix 2D and 3D together. It doesn't look fantastic. The animations are very stiff, and sometimes that can lead to you kind of thinking that you made a jump, but then finding out you didn't because the right portion of your character wasn't over the platform. The characters make weird and sometimes annoying sounds, but it's kind of cute character design. They're all these funny little bird people, and it's the graphics don't really bother me. I'd rather have a fun game than a pretty game. So, and this is exactly what you're getting for that. So, give Shu a shot if you dare. I will be back tomorrow for some more Nintendo stuff. There's not any huge news articles or anything to share today. Just kind of a normal day in Nintendo land. So, thank you so much for tuning into Nintendo Nightly. I hope you find these videos enjoyable, entertaining, helpful, whatever. Give me your feedback at thebentoblock.com/Nintendo Nightly. You can write into the show or the comments field of whatever app or service you're listening or watching on. And thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you tomorrow with some more Nintendo news.